Thank you for attending SEMA's Businesswomen Virtual Education Series. My name is Melissa Parker-Boudreau from Oracle Lighting, and I will be your moderator today. SBN's Resource and Events Committee have been hard at work to provide additional resources for our members to enhance their professional path and career. Be sure to check out all of the series on SBN's website. Nicole will add the link in our chat today, as well in a follow-up email. In today's session, we have Julie Couret, Executive Coach, to walk us through how to maneuver through Imposter Syndrome. Julie Couret is an executive coach for real people. She is known for her unabashedly candid approach that cuts through noise and clutter. She works one-on-one with CEOs from owner-operator to Fortune 500 companies, getting to the core of the issues that cause executives to lose sleep. In her coaching discussions, she provides the clarity to help CEOs eliminate barriers for greater growth. Julie will talk to us today about imposter syndrome. We know that this is a topic that can be very personal and emotional, yet it can have a great impact on each of us in the workplace. Julie is going to dive into this topic and look to the chat with your comments and questions and experiences to help progress the discussion. Julie wants you to use the chat throughout the event. If there are any questions that you would like to ask anonymously, please feel free to direct them to me, and I can always ask them for you. We encourage you to take the initiative to share LinkedIn profile details so that we can connect afterwards with members of your group as well. This will help build connections that you can hopefully continue face-to-face later this year at the SEMA show. So Julie, you can take it away.
Welcome, everyone. I am so excited to talk about imposter syndrome. I feel like it is always part of the dialogue, always something we're feeling. The goal of today is for us to get a better understanding about what really is imposter syndrome, why we feel it, why it's not bad to feel it, and what we can do about it. So what I would first like for us to discuss is what exactly is imposter syndrome. So please take to the chat. What does it feel like? What does it look like? When does it happen? When do we feel like we have imposter syndrome? When do we feel as if we're in the position where we're experiencing imposter syndrome? I have imposter syndrome when ... happens. We're going to use the chat. Again, if you don't want to share, you can just privately message Melissa, because a lot of us experience the same thing. We just never get in the room and talk about it at the same time. So it's a doubt of skills. Let's pull that up so we can see that. Internalized fear. What else does imposter syndrome feel like and look like? For me, it feels like I don't belong here. For me, it feels like everyone thinks I'm good enough for this, but if they only knew deep down, I am not. So for me, I interpret imposter syndrome to have meant everyone else thinks I can do it, but I don't think I can do it. When you have education and skills, but doubt your abilities to carry out your goals and aspirations, and it can be paralyzing. We're going to talk about the paralyzing fear that it does. It's paralyzing. It's when on paper you've got it, but can I put my mouth where my money is, so to speak? That's great. Let's keep them coming. When else do we feel like we experience imposter syndrome? Another thought is, when do you first remember experiencing imposter syndrome? I sure remember the feeling of it. It's when I first got promoted into a management position. After publishing my first book, when you get promoted. So when does it happen? It happens at milestones. So is it really just me, Melissa, and Angela that have experienced it? If you've experienced imposter syndrome, put a note in the chat. Yes, I have. I'm not sure if I have. Let us know if you've experienced imposter syndrome. Okay, so imposter syndrome can feel like I'm not as good enough as everyone around me. Very well said. We'll talk about that. Lack of education compared to others. Oh, I feel it when I'm looking and applying for new positions. The key here, what Maddie wrote, y'all, that I want us to take note of, we're going to talk about, is compared to others. Okay, so Laura says, I have absolutely experienced it. I came from a different industry, so I knew nothing about cars or repairs. I'm still learning a lot. Laura, tell us more about this. So someone believed in you, but are you struggling with what? What are you struggling with? What's that feeling that you're struggling with? Imposter syndrome is a feeling, y'all. And Melissa, if it's cool with you, anybody is welcome to unmute themselves. I literally feel this way every time when someone calls me a mechanic, because even though I went to automotive school, I never worked in a shop, and I have a hard time with the title mechanic. Oh my golly, y'all. So the title of it. Laura's finishing her thought. And again, y'all absolutely can unmute it. This is very good contribution. I remember the first time.
Laura made a really good point. Some people don't know about the automotive industry too much. So you might know your brand really well, but you don't know as a whole everything.
Here's the deal with imposter syndrome, okay? Believe it or not, you don't want to ever stop feeling it, because if you stop feeling imposter syndrome, it means you're done growing. When you have imposter syndrome, it's a signal to us that there's something for us to learn. That's really what it all comes down to. So when someone says that I don't compare to other people, I don't know as much as they do, that is really, if you're sitting in a room of people, let's say I'm sitting in a room of people that are really qualified in real estate, and they're talking about real estate in a very specific way, maybe investment real estate. And I don't know anything about investment real estate. I'm gonna look at Laura's note really fast. Talking to customers about products, brands, I don't understand yet. Right, this is about knowledge, y'all. This is why imposter syndrome is really something we can manage. So I'm sitting around talking to these real people that are doing real estate investment. I start to feel imposter syndrome. At that point, when this happens, you have to ask yourself, do I want to be qualified in this? Do I want that skill? Because what imposter syndrome comes down to is the feeling of, do I have this skill or not? And in this case, specifically Laura and a few others, do I have the automotive industry skill set? So most of the time, and we're going to talk about another one because I think it was Maddie who said I've struggled with being called a mechanic. The issue with imposter syndrome really comes down to feeling I'm not smart enough. But if you think about smarts, that's a skill set, whatever that is, right? Can I learn about that? What I would like you to do, except for if it's your job, so please say yes, you need to ask yourself, is this something I want to be qualified in? Is that a skill set that I want to grow? Do I have passion about it? Because you might just be sitting with people that are talking about a certain topic or a certain place in their career. Do you want to be an equal to them? Is that something that you actually really want? Or can you say, I'm around all these really qualified, smart people about this certain topic. How interesting. I'm here to learn. This is really cool. And I'm okay not having that skill set, not being someone that's really qualified in that area. If it is something that you want to be qualified in, you've got a couple barriers to entry. One of them is the story in our head. So whether we like it or not, the research shows that women and women of color particularly struggle with imposter syndrome the most. Can you guess why? So why do we have that self-doubt? Why do women, Melissa, why do we have self-doubt? Why do women of color, if you look at women, comparatively speaking, why is it the women have the most struggle with self-doubt? Lack of resources growing up, Lack of resources. What else? Not being encouraged to do it, particularly in your industry. Oh, look at everyone's now the chat's blowing up. Yes. I don't want to butcher your name, Talena. Society telling us we are not enough. Lack of support and encouragement to be career focused. Not encouraged to try newer, different things. Yes, absolutely, y'all. Close the comments. We have narratives in our head throughout here we go. Casey is coming in hot. Casey's coming in hot with it. Oh, there we go. I want to read what Casey wrote to me. Oh, I found it. Throughout history, women and people of color were told they can't do these things or they were not allowed to. Bingo, y'all. Bingo. Okay. We were told we're not deserving of these things. We're less deserving of these things. We're not qualified. So does everyone pretty much understand the concept of the story in our head? Just put yes. You know, the story that's in our head, the narrative in our head. Yes, way too well. Yeah. I mean, we are a product of our environment. We're acclimated to things. Yeah. So, and that's really great. Sometimes it's great to be a product of your environment. If you're, grew up with your grandfather and he was like really outgoing and gregarious, then that's you and that's awesome. And if you were already told, like people in the South, we were always told and raised to be really friendly to strangers and to be always really gracious to strangers and engage with them. So that's what we do. Like you will find Melissa and I talking to people at the checkout line at the grocery store and know their whole history in 45 seconds or less. That was, we were told like, hey, you should always engage other people. That's the nice thing to do. So these are all unconscious beliefs that we have about ourselves. And the unconscious belief means it's just programmed. I never questioned it. I never questioned talking to somebody growing up on the side of the, not the side of the road, but at an event. Hello. I encourage us, we have to stop and say, why not? Why not me? And we need to challenge our own narrative. We need to challenge the storyline in our head and also take the time to self-identify what triggers me to have imposter syndrome. Can I catch it? And how is it being reinforced? I will get an imposter syndrome if I make a clerical mistake, if I have an administrative mistake. And that's so interesting. I don't doubt my ability to coach, but I put too much importance on administrative tasks. So if I put a calendar invite out with a client and I put the wrong day. I put it for the day of versus tomorrow. And I was like, oh my God, I'm the worst coach ever. I am not worthy. He should fire me. Oh, that's terrible. Because I've attached this belief system that you should be administratively checking all the boxes off. So that's a trigger for me. And then I start to reinforce it when I go down that rabbit hole. And I have to pause and say, everybody clicks on the wrong day on a calendar. That doesn't mean I'm not qualified. We're going to move on. And when he texted me and said, you sent the calendar invite for today, I stopped myself because I started to say, oh my gosh, I started like the thing. I said, okay, cool. Got it. Thanks. When I said it with that very British accent, got it. I don't know why I became British in that moment. Y'all, we really are in charge of our own imposter syndrome. Okay. There's this quote by Bruce Lee. And he says, I wrote it down to make sure I don't mess it up. Bruce Lee says, I'm not worried about the guy that's practiced 10,000 kicks one time. I'm worried about the guy that's practiced one kick 10,000 times. I'm going to say it again. Bruce Lee says, I'm not afraid of the guy that has practiced 10,000 kicks one time. I'm afraid of the guy that's practiced one kick 10,000 times. Why is that such a significant quote? What's the importance of that message? Perfection at one thing. Let's see. Oh, salary negotiations. Absolutely. Absolutely talking about salary negotiations. All right, I've made a note of that. Personal discipline and perseverance. Keep going. This is great. And having hard work. Y'all, one of the biggest things that, Melissa, by the way, can you see me if I have the chat open?
I can't see your chat, but I see mine.
No, but could you see my face?
Oh yeah, no, you're good.
Okay. When I was reading the chat, I want to make sure you can still see me.
You're good.
In half the battle, if not more of the battle with imposter syndrome is simply mastering the task. But this is where it comes down to. So we need to shift imposter syndrome from being keeping up with the Joneses to, do I care enough about this? If I do, then I'm going to put the hard work into it. You should feel imposter syndrome at every next leap, at every next accomplishment. So, you're in your career. Yeah, you feel good. You write a book, all of a sudden, imposter syndrome. Like, oh, you're published it. Like, oh my gosh, who am I to have a published book? What? People are going to hear I have a book and say, why? Who is this woman? Why is she writing? This is ridiculous. Okay. Then you're going to write the book. It's published. You've accomplished it. You overcome that. But then when you do the second book, you're like, oh, who might have 2 books out? That's ridiculous. Every new leap you have is an opportunity for imposter syndrome, because imposter syndrome, in short, is when you feel like there is something you need to learn and you're not qualified in it. That's what it comes down to. Okay. That's the true imposter syndrome. And if you care deeply about it, then go after it. Then be Bruce Lee and learn that one kick 10,000 times, if that really is important to you. I think where we struggle is sometimes you get caught up in trying to be perfect at everything or keep up with everything. And, I'm a lot of times women do this, not only because we were raised holding, you don't deserve this. This is not for you. But then we're also raised to feel like, and also have a perfectly clean kept home, have perfect children, be beautiful, be engaging, be worthwhile, contribute to the community. So you're out, you're having lunch with, like the moms or your coworkers, and you're like, oh my God, I have imposter syndrome because I have not made my bed in, I don't know, maybe twice this year. And, my dishes are so dirty that I have to put them they can't even the dishwasher because I haven't unloaded the dishwasher. Oh, I'm a mess. If only they knew. They think I'm so great. But the truth is, y'all, if you don't really care about the dishes, but you're comparing yourself to somebody else, then you're always setting yourself up for failure. You've got to take ownership over it and say, this is something I really care about. And I do really care about presenting myself administratively on top of things. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be committed. I'm gonna really check twice when sending a calendar invite, because that's important to me. Is it important to you? Now, what's different is the salary negotiations. Okay. I think that's a different type of imposter syndrome. So we have a couple thoughts here. We'll go through the chat. Okay. And again, I hope I'm not butchering names. To Lena, she says, I like to think throughout all the outcomes of difficult conversations so I know how to personally react to each outcome. I role play things. I literally will say, okay, Melissa, now you be so-and-so and I'll be you. So I'm going to show you how maybe this should be said. Now, how would he say it to me? If I were you, what would be his response to me? What would he say? So I love role playing. It's awkward and weird, but it really helps. So Talina is hitting the money with that. And then Maddie's saying, know your worth. That is a lot what imposter syndrome comes down to, is knowing your worth, knowing where you're qualified, knowing your skills. And if you don't have that skill set, if you are feeling imposter syndrome because it's new to you, then make that something that you are committed to. But more so, we got another comment. After 6 years, cost of living is a relevant concern, even if the work hasn't changed. So, right, Katie's saying, listen, even if you hadn't done amazing things, you're long overdue for a raise. I'd love for you to get more than a cost of living, as we all would. But Katie is saying, absolutely, listen, in addition to a standard cost of living increase, boom, right? And is it time, oh, Diane, to revise or change the job description in this case? That's not a bad idea, actually.
Or a title change. If you're doing that much, maybe you should have a title change, and that should be what you go in with, which is, this is everything I do. This is my new title, my new salary. This is my offer.
I was hired in to do these things. This is what I do all the time, actually, even more so. One of my notes when I was continuing my research on imposter syndrome is that, and I think this will tie into the concept of like, I've been doing all this work because I'm driven, because I like doing new things. Imposter syndrome happens when your challenge meets your skills, okay? So when your challenge meets your skills, okay? When the challenge is higher than the skill set, you have imposter syndrome. When the challenge is higher than the skill set, you have imposter syndrome. If the skill set is higher than the challenge, you're bored. If the challenge is here and these are your skill sets, you are bored. You have no room for growth because your skills up here and the challenge is here. When the challenge is up here and your skill set's here, this is when you start, this is when you grow. So this is the space of imposter syndrome right here. And then you're here. Let me check that last comment. Whoops. Let's read that last comment. Let's see.
There are industry standard salaries available. They may have to be blended in Erica's case. So just kind of like a comparison. You should know what your counterparts are being paid. You should know what the industry standard is as well. Good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone had talked about that they feel imposter syndrome when on paper they check the boxes, they have the education, but they still feel like they don't belong there. Tell me more about that. If that person or if somebody relates to that, why is that bringing up feelings of imposter syndrome when they have the skill sets, but yet they're feeling they have imposter syndrome?
For me, it's, I mean, I don't want to say I feel like that all the time, but for me, sometimes the challenge is age. I get so anxious when I'm the youngest person in the room, but I know I can know what I'm talking about, but I start to feel my self-doubt really heavily because of that.
Yeah. Is it possible that in some of their imposter syndrome is not based in reality, that it's not challenge and skill, but it's how we interpret ourselves? Yes. Yeah. And who's the person that can fix that?
Me. I mean, I
because it's
I know it's my right. It's my self-doubt.
And we need to challenge our self-doubt. So something that I'm really trying to practice a lot of is what's the evidence to support that and what's the evidence that's against that. I really have been trying to practice evidence-based decision-making, which you would think like, of course you would, but I mean, pausing. And when someone says, you know, like I have a client who says, I don't feel challenged. I don't feel like I'm challenged. Normally I'd be like, of course you're challenged because you handled this and that. Instead, now I'm pausing and saying, talk to me about what challenging looks like. And where do you see evidence that you are being challenged? Where are you seeing evidence you're not being challenged? With that said, we need to stop and ask ourselves, if we say, there's no way that I could ever become this. Like, there's no way that anybody would ever want to hear from me for this. Okay, here we go. Diane's got a thought. Being an older worker, sometimes I feel like the younger workers have techie ingrained in them from birth. So everybody's got this thing, right? Although technical skill set, again, if that's something that's really we're passionate about, like you have to really ask yourself, what's the evidence for that? Is the challenge up here, my skills here for tech, or is it here? And I just have to accept it. But if the challenge is up here and we need to grow a little bit, then we can grow up to that. I think Diane's point is that I think every generation feels something. So when we have a feeling that we don't belong and it's based in something maybe a little irrational, like Dan might think like, oh my God, I'm so outshined by these young kids and their technical abilities, that's when we have to pause. Or Melissa saying, oh my gosh, am I too young to be at this table? And let's look for evidence to support that and evidence to challenge it. Look for both, invite both for yourself. And it's almost like we have to coach yourself. And you have to talk this out loud of like, okay, is there evidence really that what's the evidence where I'm really behind to my younger counterparts in technology? Okay, they talk about this particular app. Is that app important to them? Is that something I need? Or they use lingo. What can I just go learn the lingo? Okay. Or are they navigating CRM databases more effectively? Maybe not. I can learn a CRM database. Okay, I don't feel too behind on that. I can do that. And then with Melissa, and I used to feel too young to be in the room. I'll be 45 next couple months. I no longer feel too young to be in the room. Crazily enough, a lot of my clients are younger than me, which used to be the flip. So for a long time, I used to feel that way. Not anymore. But when I was young, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm the youngest person in the room. Why am I here? I am a fool. I have to stop and say, okay, why am I saying that? Yes, I am the youngest person in the room, but what's the evidence that they're better than me? Okay, he has technically seen a few more of these incidents played out. Okay, I do need to get that experience. I can do that. Remember, challenge, skill set. I can get that skill set. What else? He just seems a little more comfortable and at home out here. Okay, I just need a little time to relax into this. Other than that, he responds to situations. I know how to respond to situations. He knows how to handle conflict. I know how to handle conflict. Okay, yeah, I don't know the route. I don't know. I need to learn the routes. I can learn that. Here's the challenge. Here's the skill set. I can learn that. I can rise to that challenge. I can close that gap. So we need to talk ourselves through it and really manage the story inside our head of what am I telling myself every day? If we're walking around with this, like, what am I doing here? I don't belong here, and challenge those thoughts. Like, is success for others? Is a certain level in my career for other people, not for me? I used to believe that having this was meant for people that, looked a certain way, came from a certain background, and challenge the beliefs that don't support you. Because if it really is something that you can do, you have to ask yourself, is this a skill that I really want? Because it's not that you're not smart enough. Do you really want to do that? Is that something that's important to you? And if it's talking about P&L statements all the time and you're like, I really don't care about that. And you know what? If that's what's going to take me to fit in with this group and be smart enough, maybe I need to look at something else, because that's not something I want to be worrying about. You have to take yourself out of your head and examine your head externally. I call it working on the business, not in the business. And that's what you'd be doing for yourself. I'd love to hear, because we want this to be like a working workshop, who else has felt imposter syndrome? Where is it holding you back? Where are you stuck? What's that phone call you're not making? What's that email you haven't sent? What is that board of directors you have not joined? What is that, that group, that association, that committee? Where are you not putting yourself? Because I hear about it all of the time. Like, why aren't you on that committee? Oh, I feel like, why would I be there? What do I have to offer? What do I know? I hear that all the time, every day, from qualified people. And we all face it. And then one of the best ways to get through it is to hear how others, or we can learn how to overcome it. You have to tell yourself, I belong here. And I have just as much of a reason to be here as they do. And I'm going to be okay with the fact that there's a gap, that the challenge is here and my skill set's here. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It's okay to say, yeah, I'm just getting into this. Yeah, this is new. Yeah, I'm absorbing it all. I'm in an active learning stage. I'm earning my gears. I'm in it. And I find that when we take the elephant outside, take the elephant in the room and put it on the table, and it's no longer something we're embarrassed about, but yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm still getting my arms wrapped around this. This is something that I'm actively engaged in learning. I'm in this growth phase. It's a growth phase for me for this skill set. That takes it from, I'm not as good enough. I'm not keeping up. Let's see what Maddie says. The overwhelming feeling of not feeling like you have a place for growth. Maddie, can you tell us more about this? Whether you want to type it or speak to it, can you say more? The word overwhelming, it's big. It's this feeling. I feel like I don't have a place for growth, of not feeling like you have a place for growth. Let's hear more. I'm imagining that this statement is about, where do I go from here? What's next for me? Is there a spot for me? Is there a place for me? Is there a growth path? Or is it, I can't grow anymore? Here we go. Being a competitive workspace where everyone has the knowledge, but I don't feel like I have the room to ask the questions necessary. Oh gosh. So this is a situation, because remember, we kept talking about, here's the challenge, here's the skill set. The way to overcome it is to get our skill set to rise to the occasion so we can meet the challenge. And here's the challenge, here's the knowledge that everyone's got. I want to be there, but I can't ask the questions that I need to ask. So Maddie, how long have you felt this way? We're gonna process this together, because I guarantee someone else is experiencing this as well. So how long has it been this way? Okay, I've only been in this completely new world, in this new work for 3 months. Okay, very soon. So you felt this way for 3 months. Who have you talked to about this at work? Who have you already talked to about this at work? And also, I have questions, but team, let's support Maddie. And what other questions do you have for her? Before we go to solve it, let's get a little more information. So this has been just a few months. So y'all be ready for your questions in the chat or unmute, so we can get all of our data together to give her a good,
First thing I want to know is there like an ability to learn not from someone else? If people are very unhelpful, maybe that's the work environment. You know, it's so fast paced, people aren't taking the time. But is there a way to do like a workaround to kind of have her learn without leaning on somebody else?
Okay. So who knows about that you would like to learn some more? And second is there an opportunity for self-study? I know we're asking you a lot of questions, Maddie. It's like, there's so much more to understand. What says so much about you that's so positive, Maddie, is that you do want to rise to the occasion. You do want to have that knowledge. You want to be competitive. You want to be able to compete with your peers. That's awesome. Because some people are like, I'm fine. Okay. Diane says, I think you're still in the ramp up. And that you should be able to ask questions. Absolutely. And she's saying, do you have an approachable group? These are factors, because if I know I can talk to them, who can I be vulnerable in front of? Who can I be honest with? And you know what's so crazy? Here we go. I work directly with my boss. He's very communicative with me about jobs coming in. I think this feeling has come from my lack of education experience in this field. Well, okay, yeah. What have we been saying? I wish I could see my notes. Imposter syndrome is a feeling. It's not about being smart enough. Imposter syndrome is when your challenge meets your skills. That's what it is. And you have to say, this area of discomfort that you have, do I want to close the gap? Do I want to close the gap? And it sounds like you do. And just because you have the gap doesn't mean I'm not worthy of asking the questions. It's hard for me to formulate the correct questions to grow more. Is it because you don't know what you don't know, Maddie? Because sometimes if you are still learning all of it. Yeah. Okay, great. So we need to give Maddie some questions that can really help support her. It could be a few things like, hey, boss, can you share with me how would you like to see me in 6 months? What skill sets or responsibilities do you want me to be able to do independently in the next 6 months or in 6 months? And this is where, like, sometimes it's on the bosses, they failed in this part, but because they didn't come to the table and say, this is what I expect you in 30 days, 60, 90 days. So maybe go to boss man.
Just thinking that they should have a 30, 60, 90 to tell her what's expected of her. And or maybe she can make her own, right? I mean, is that?
Or ask, what do you expect? So she's been here for 90 days.
So she should have had it, but.
Yeah. Let's see. Casey says, I tell my new hires they'll have 6 months to ask me all the questions. And if they aren't asking me questions, it makes me worry. Oh, everybody wants to work for Casey. Casey, come be our boss. No, I mean, we have great bosses too. Tiffany's wonderful. If you have a hard time figuring out how to phrase a certain question, you can write them down, read them back, and see if they make sense, or start with your boss. I'm not sure how to ask this question, so please help me work through this process. Right. This is great. Like, do a screenshot of this. Take a picture of the computer screen with your phone. These are great talking points. I think that my suggestion is and blend this with Casey's, because write down your questions of, I really would love to know, what are the skill sets that you want me to be understanding completely on my own by 6 months? What are the actions that you want me to be able to do in 6 months? What are the activities you want me to be able to do in the next 6 months? Where do you want me to be? And if he can't articulate it, then you have to ask really specific questions. So you have to say, what are the actions you'd like me to be able to do without any help? What do you expect me to be able to do on my own by 6 months? And then that will be your starting point, and say, because I just want to make sure that I've got a really good roadmap. I want to roadmap out my work here and my training and my growth. This is great. Yes. Okay. Yes. Figure out those expectations. This is on the boss for sure. But this happens all the time, y'all, where the boss is, let's see. Oh, Maddie, I feel the weight of the expectations, and I feel all over the place with the pressure of completion and perfection without practice. Oh, Maddie, you could be one of my clients. Everyone that's in these positions feels this way, that if they've been put in a new position, activity and action is going to make you feel better. Activity and action, getting a game plan is going to make you feel better. Okay. You feel over the place because it's like this. See, look, Laura, and y'all are not the only ones at all. This happens all the time.
Guys,
okay.
We have about 5 minutes left. So if you want to add anything else for Maddie, Laura, Julie, and keep the conversation going, about 5 minutes left, so we need to end.
No, it flew by.
Good conversation though.
This is really so helpful. If he doesn't know the questions, you ask very specific questions. Where do you want to see me in 6 months? What are the roles and responsibilities that I can do? What are the actions that you want me to be able to do independently? Write all this all out and ask for the meeting. Say, I'd love to sit down and talk about my growth plan and my roadmap to really meet your needs, to make sure I'm doing what's expected. Because he may not have written it down himself and have no idea what he's supposed to be doing with you. And you feel all over the place. Let's see, because He's not giving you, right? He's not giving you any expectations. Let's see. Oh, y'all are so supportive of each other. I'm trying to teach myself that we're all human, make mistakes, but how we handle mistakes is what matters. We learn and we grow. Yes, you're going to go and say, look, it's been 3 months. I want to make sure I'm on the right path and doing what you expect of me. And I want to make sure that in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, I'm exactly where you expected me to be, if not more. You could say that. Show a little moxie in it, okay? And have specific questions prepared. And that will help you feel less blah, because you have no plan. You've got no plan, no roadmap. Here's how you do it. That's why it feels like this. When you're gonna get with him and he's gonna say, I'd like for you to do these skill sets. Say, great. Who do I learn those from? Who should I set that training up with? Because if he's not already taking the bull by the horns for you for this, you need to. So you have to ask those questions because he's clueless. And that's okay. Sometimes leaders are great entrepreneurs and they're terrible leaders and they're terrible at entrepreneuring. Okay, I mean, terrible at onboarding people. Maddie, oh, good. We want you to make your list of questions. And then when he tells you this is where he wants to see you, say, awesome, who should train me that? Who should I shadow for that? Should I reach out to them directly and let them know that you told me to reach out to them? You want to lead the horse to water. Go team. Oh my gosh, this was such a good work session. I want a work session, everybody now. This is great. I'm doing every one of the webinars like this. I'm yellow paging it. This is not called a yellow page. Yellow pad. This was great, y'all. Any other questions? Final questions? Can we do this every week, right? Aw, the world is a better place when strong women collaborate and lift each other up. Oh, it's best. Thank y'all for letting me be a part of this. I love SEMA very much.
It was great. I like doing it through the chat and the collaboration like this and taking real world examples. I think this was really successful.
Yes, yes. I am yellow paging it from now on. Yellow papering this. Yeah.
And you can always join SBN. Nicole put her email in the chat. So joining SBN does allow for more conversations like this and ideas to flow and more continued education, which is really important for all of us, right? Any final words, Julie, before we bring it home?
You know, they can always reach out to me. My name's Julie Couret. You can Google me, and julie@juliecouret.com is my email. You can find me on any social media platform and I'll answer your questions. I'm happy to be a resource for y'all.
She has great videos on her channels, guys. If you follow her on Instagram, I'm sorry, Julie, I'm plugging you here, girl. Follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and her LinkedIn has a ton of amazing videos, in my opinion, that you can just watch when you guys have time. I love it, and it's a good like validation like we talked about here. And we hope to see you at the SEMA show too. So we're going to have the SBN reception on Wednesday. So thank you, Julie, for an incredible session. It was wonderful, and I think we all can agree to that. And I appreciate our attendees sharing and looking forward to see how I can enhance myself in the future. You know, we have another session coming on October 20th with Elizabeth Jacobs. She will discuss talent management for managers. Nicole has put a link to SEMA's virtual education webpage, so you can go ahead and look at the events and register for them now. She also plugged in the reception link and the Gear Up Girl link. So please, guys, join us at the SEMA reception. We'd love to have you. Thank you guys so much for attending, and we hope